Hello, 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 beautiful black people. I hope that all is well in your world and this day is progressing very, very well for you and all of your wonderful, wonderful black loved ones. My beautiful black, intelligent people, know this. When that criminal, that white supremacist Trump, is no longer in office, all of those white racist Republican U.S. senators and U.S. Congress folks will get in front of a microphone and a camera and try to convince the rest of us how patriotic they are and how supportive they are of the rule of law. Discard those folks. Remember their names, especially those white racist Republican U.S. senators that voted not to remove Trump from office. Remember their names. When those Republicans, white racist Republicans, and some white racist Democrats will say no one is above the law, it is a lie. It is a lie to the nth degree. Remember their names. Mitch McConnell. Remember his name. John Thune, Thune. Remember his name. John Barrasso of Wyoming. Remember that white boy's name. It is a lie to the nth degree when they say no one is above the law. These folks that I will name in the content of this presentation are above the law. Look at all of those white Wall Street criminals and their stock buying and purchasing schemes, their mutual fund scams, etc., etc. Remember their names. Roy Blunt of Missouri. Remember their names. Joni Ernst of Iowa. These are all Republicans, white supremacy believing U.S. senators. Remember their names. Todd Young of Indiana. Remember their names. All of those white racist CEOs, controllers, owners of these big banks, Bank of America, etc., etc. It is the big banks and the Wall Street criminals that took our economy down into the deep tank back in 2007, 2008. Not one of these criminals spent one day in jail. Not one of those criminals was indicted. They're all white folks. White folks are the ones that are above the law. Remember their names, my beautiful, intelligent black brothers and sisters. Think about all of those wealthy white folks that are bribing crooked politicians to shape our economy, etc., etc. All of these wealthy, white, racist Americans like Robert Mercer of that Mercer Foundation, they are bribing Republicans, white Republican politicians, to shape our economy the way they want it to be. They say no one is above the law. Remember their names. Lamar Alexander of Tennessee, Marsha Blackburn of Tennessee. Remember their names. They're the ones that voted unanimously not to remove Trump from office. Had Trump been removed from office today, we would have 80% of 132,000 plus Americans would still be alive, because we would have put in place, implemented a plan to attack and control the COVID-19 disease. Remember their names. Remember how we have consistently in this country elected criminals to powerful, influential positions. Trump is a perfect example of that. Ted Cruz, Mitch McConnell, Devin Nunes, they are perfect examples of how American people that behave like sheep will vote for and elect criminals to these very powerful, influential positions that will impact all of us in a negative way. Remember their names. John Boozman of Arkansas, Mike Braun of Indiana. Remember their names, my beautiful, intelligent black brothers and sisters. We have consistently put criminals and rapists and also traitors on the U.S. Supreme Court. Brett Kavanaugh is a perfect example of that. Remember their names. They voted unanimously not to remove Trump from office during the impeachment in December and January of this year. Remember their names. Richard Burr of North Carolina, Shelley Moore Capito of West Virginia, Bill Cassidy of Louisiana. Remember their names, my beautiful, intelligent black brothers and sisters. We have consistently allowed the Electoral College system. It is a scam. The Electoral College is a scam that negates real democracy. Real democracy depends on, rests on, exists on a one-man, one-vote system. The Electoral College is a scam. It is the empowered Republicans that will consistently vote to keep the Electoral College in place because it benefits them the most. It benefits them the most. The Electoral College is a scam. The CEOs of Fortune 500 companies are looting us every day. Their products are made in China for 50 cents. They mark their products up 1,000% and sell them to the American people. We are being looted every day by these big companies, retail companies, big oil companies, big banks, Wall Street. We are being looted every day. These folks are criminals, but they are all white folks, and they are all above the law. Remember their names. They are all U.S. senators. Susan Collins of Maine, John Cornyn of Texas, Tom Cotton of Arkansas. Remember their names. They all voted unanimously not to remove the criminal, the white supremacist, Trump, from the presidency. They are all complicit in the mass murder of 132,000 Americans today. They are all complicit in the murder of 30,000 Americans every year with guns. It's called gun violence. We are living with it every day of our lives. Gun violence, guns have been weaponized. The COVID-19 disease has been weaponized. These white racist Republicans, the Trump administration, are using COVID-19 as a weapon to kill black folks and brown folks, augmenting their ongoing voter suppression methods, techniques, programs, etc., etc. Remember their names, my beautiful, intelligent black brothers and sisters. Mike Crapo of Idaho, Kevin Kramer of North Dakota, Ted Cruz of Texas. Remember their names. Do not allow them to get in front of a camera and a microphone and lie to you, trying to convince you that they are whole, W-H-O-L-E, that they have integrity, that they have character, that they are honest, that they are patriotic. They are not. They voted unanimously not to remove the criminal Trump from the presidency. The PPP program was looted by white folks. The PPP program was looted by white folks. These white folks are connected to Trump. These white folks are connected to Jared Kushner. These white folks are connected to Mitch McConnell. These white folks are connected to Mark Meadows. These white folks are connected to John Cornyn. And even some white Democrat politicians looted the PPP program. Remember their names. Steve Daines of Montana. Mike Enzi of Wyoming. Joni Ernst of Iowa. Remember their names, my beautiful, intelligent black brothers and sisters. They are complicit in the mass murder of 132,000 Americans already. And that number is increasing every day. They are complicit in allowing more than 30,000 Americans to be killed, murdered with guns every year. Remember their names. Remember their names. Remember their names. Trump's cabinet officials are allowed to lie to us every day. Mr. Azar, Mr. Redfield, Mr. Navarro, they are all lying to us. Mike Pompeo, they are all lying to us. William Barr, they are all lying to the American people every day. Remember their names. They are complicit in allowing the Trump administration to remain in place so that Trump and his minions, his lackeys, can continue to lie to us every day. Remember their names. They're all white folks, by the way. They're all white folks, by the way. Deb Fisher of Nebraska. Cory Gardner of Colorado. Lindsey Graham of South Carolina. Remember their names. They are all complicit in the mass murder of 132,000 plus Americans. They are all complicit in allowing 30,000 plus Americans to be killed by guns every year. They're all complicit in allowing 132,000 Americans to be killed by COVID-19. And that number is increasing every day. Remember their names, my beautiful, intelligent black brothers and sisters. They're all white folks, white boys and white girls. They're all white folks, white boys and white girls. There's something innate about too many white folks that give them an insatiable appetite for black death, black suffering, the suffering and the death of anyone that do not look like them. Remember their names. Remember their names. Trump has told us more than 20,000 lies. Had Barack Obama told 20,000 lies, he would have been impeached and removed from office immediately. They say no one is above the law. These white folks that I'm speaking of in this content are showing us every day that they are above the law. Remember their names. Chuck Grassley of Iowa, Josh Hawley of Missouri, John Hoeven of North Dakota. Remember their names. They're all white Republican U.S. senators. They're all racist bastards to the core, my beautiful, intelligent black brothers and sisters. Do you know that there is a crime syndicate operating out of the White Boy house? There is a crime syndicate operating out of the White Boy house. And all of these names that I am quoting are complicit in enabling that crime syndicate, because all of these folks voted unanimously not to remove the criminal Trump from the presidency. Remember their names. Cindy Hyde Smith of Mississippi, John Inhofe of Oklahoma, Ron Johnson of Wisconsin. Remember their names. They are complicit in a mass murder. They are complicit in allowing 30,000 plus murders, death by guns every year. They are complicit in enabling a crime syndicate operating out of the White Boy house. Trump has used the unjust injustice system. Trump has used the unjust injustice system to shield his tax documents. Barack Obama, no other president would have been able to do that, especially not Barack Obama. White folks are above the law. I could not hide my tax documents from anyone because the unjust injustice system was designed to apply injustice to people that look like me, black folks, people that look like me. Remember their names. John Kennedy of Louisiana, James Langford of Oklahoma, Mike Lee of Utah. Remember their names. They are complicit in voting unanimously not to remove the criminal, the white supremacist Trump from the presidency. They are complicit in the mass murder. COVID-19 is the weapon being used. Mass murder is a crime, and that mass murder is escalating every day. Remember their names. Kelly Loeffler of Georgia, Mitch McConnell of Kentucky, Martha McSally of Arizona. Remember their names. They are Trump enablers. They are complicit in the mass murder. They are enabling the crime syndicate to operate out of the White Boy house. They are enablers, complicit in allowing 30,000 plus Americans to die from gun violence every year. They are complicit in the 20,000 plus lies that Trump have told to the American people. The Republican Party is an annex, ANNEX, of the crime syndicate operating out of the White Boy house. Trump has surrounded himself with liars. Trump have surrounded himself with criminals. Trump have surrounded himself with traitors. The Republican Party, the U.S. Senate, Kelly Loeffler, Mitch McConnell, Martha McSally, Jerry Moran of Kansas, Lisa Murkowski of Alaska, Rand Paul of Kentucky. They are all Trump enablers. They all voted unanimously not to remove the traitor Trump from office. The Republican Party voted to let a traitor go free, and that traitor was Trump. Paul Manafort is at home because they want to protect him from COVID-19. Black folks and brown folks are still in prison, dying from COVID-19 every day at San Quentin, just to name one of those prisons where COVID-19 is running. It's raging havoc on the lives of incarcerated black and brown people. Trump said it is not safe for Paul Manafort to be in prison. Well, it is not safe for all of those black and brown folks that are dying from COVID-19 in prisons all across this country, and they have not been sent home. They say no one is above the law. Paul Manafort is above the law. These Republicans, white Republican U.S. senators that I am naming, are above the law. Trump is above the law. Trump administration is above the law. The Republican Party voted to let a traitor go free. Remember their names. Remember their names. Rand Paul of Kentucky, Lisa Murkowski of Alaska, Jerry Moran of Kansas, Kelly Loeffler of Georgia. Remember their names. Remember their names. They are complicit in all of the crimes committed by Trump and the crime syndicate operating out of the White Boy house. David Perdue of Georgia, Rob Portman of Ohio, Jim Risch of Idaho. Remember their names. They're all white boys and white girls. They're all U.S. senators. They're all Republicans. They're all racist bastards to the core. Remember their names. Do not allow them to manipulate you, to get in front of a camera and a microphone, to try to convince us that they are whole, W-H-O-L-E, that they are patriotic, that they are working for the American people. Remember their names: David Perdue, Rob Portman, Jim Risch, Pat Roberts, Mike Rounds, Mitt Romney. Remember their names. They all voted to not to remove the criminal Donald Trump from the White Boy House. And I have a correction. There was one white Republican U.S. Senator that did so vote to remove the criminal Trump from office. And that white Republican U.S. Senator's name is Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney. Remember that name. He's the only white boy U.S. Senator that voted to remove the criminal, the liar, the white supremacist Trump from the White Boy House. Remember their names, my beautiful, intelligent black brothers and sisters. Donald Trump Jr. Donald Trump Jr. is a traitor. He conspired with Russians to win, to fix the 2016 election. He has not been held accountable. He has been protected. He is above the law. So never allow these white folks to tell you, or to tell me, that no one is above the law. Trump has been allowed to weaponize the COVID-19 disease to kill off black and brown voters. More voter suppression by the Republican Party. That is more voter suppression by the Republican Party, using any means necessary to suppress the black and brown vote. Trump has corrupted our protective agencies. The CDC is lying to us every day. The State Department is lying to us every day. The U.S. Treasury is lying to us every day. The IRS is lying to us. The Defense Department have forced a career honored, medaled soldier more than 20 years to retire because he's been bullied, intimidated, threatened by minions, Republicans, hateful Republicans. This cadre of Trump supporters that have decided that telling the truth, being honest, being a patriot is a crime. So therefore, they are eliminating all of the truth tellers, all of the patriots from the U.S. government services. They say no one is above the law. These criminals that I am naming are above the law. Remember their names. Marco Rubio of Florida, Ben Sasse of Nebraska, Rick Scott of Florida. Remember their names, my beautiful, intelligent black brothers and sisters. They are Trump enablers. They voted to not remove the criminal Trump, the white supremacist Trump, from the presidency. Hence is why we have had more than 132,000 Americans mass murdered by COVID-19. Every year, there's 30,000 plus Americans dying from gun violence because these white folks and one black coon that I will name have become an annex of Trump, enablers of Trump, enablers of white supremacy, enablers of treasonous traitors like Trump, the Republican Party, the GOP. Remember their names. Tim Scott, he's the black coon Republican U.S. Senator. He's a coon. He's a coon. He's a coon. He's a coon. He's a stepping fetch it like coon. He's a stepping fetch it like coon. His name is Tim Scott. His name is Tim Scott. He's from South Carolina. Remember their names. Richard Shelby of Alabama. Dan Sullivan of Alaska. Remember their names, my beautiful, intelligent black brothers and sisters. Trump has defamed voting from home. He has defamed voting from home. It's just another attempt to further suppress the votes. Trump, his administration, and the Republican Party believe that if they do not allow voting from home, then that will force people to have to get out, find a voting place to vote. And that in itself will become voter suppression. Remember their names. Remember their names. Tom Tillis of North Carolina. Remember their names. Pat Toomey of Pennsylvania. Remember their names, my beautiful, intelligent black brothers and sisters. Any other president, for example, Barack Obama, would have been removed already. Any other president would have been removed already. Any other president would have been removed already. It is white folks that are above the law. It is white folks that are above the law. It is white folks that are above the law. It is white folks that are above the law. White racist cops are murdering black folks every day with impunity. They are above the law. The white folks in powerful positions are complicit in these murders because they allow it to keep happening, doing nothing, saying nothing, allowing white racist cops to murder, to publicly lynch unarmed black folks every day. We have all We have all seen the KKK. We have all witnessed that the KKK, the white supremacists, have co-opted the 18,000 plus law enforcement agencies in this country. The white supremacists, the KKK, the white nationalists have co-opted the 18,000 plus police agencies right here on this plantation called America. Remember their names. Roger Wicker of Mississippi, Todd Young of Indiana, Pat Toomey of Pennsylvania. Trump is a Russian operative operating out of the White Boy house. Trump has consistently tried to get our national security agencies to share their security information with Putin and the Russians. We have a Russian operative operating out of the White Boy house. Trump gave secure information to the Russians, to Putin, to the Chinese, etc., etc. We have a Russian operative operating out of the White Boy house. All of these crimes done by white folks. All of these crimes done by white folks. Yet the system of white supremacy insulate these criminals from accountability, but will punish the rest of us immediately. White folks are above the law. White folks are above the law. Remember their names. John Thune. Remember their names. Richard Shelby. Remember their names. Dan Sullivan. Remember their names. Marco Rubio. Remember their names. Rick Scott. Remember their names. Pat Roberts. Remember their names. Mike Rounds. Remember their names. David Perdue. Remember their names. Rob Portman. Remember their names. John Rich. Remember their names. Jerry Moran. Remember their names. Lisa Murkowski. Remember their names. Rand Paul. Remember their names. Callie Loeffler. Remember their names. Mitch McConnell. Remember their names. Martha McSally. Remember their names. John Kennedy. Remember their names. James Langford. Remember their names. Mike Lee. Remember their names. Cindy Hyde-Smith. Remember their names. Jim Inhofe. Remember their names. Ron Johnson. Remember their names. Chuck Grassley. Remember their names. John Hawley. Remember their names. John Hovind. Remember their names. Deb Fisher. Remember their names. Corey Gardner. Remember their names. Lindsey Graham. Remember their names. Steve Daines. Remember their names. Mike Enzi. Remember their names. Joni Ernst. Remember their names. Mike Crapo. Remember their names. Kevin Kramer. Remember their names. Ted Cruz. Remember their names. Susan Collins. Remember their names. John Cornyn. Remember their names. Tom Cotton. Remember their names. Roy Blunt. Remember their names. John Bozeman. Remember their names. Mike Braun. Remember their names. Lamar Alexander. Remember their names. John Barrasso. Remember their names. Marshall Blackburn. Remember their names. Todd Young. Remember their names. Mitch McConnell. Remember their names. John Thune. Remember their names. Roy Blunt. All of these white racist Republicans, U.S. senators, are complicit in enabling the crime syndicate operating out of the White Boy house. All of these white racist U.S. senators are complicit in doing a mass murder on American people using COVID-19 as a weapon to kill Americans, to suppress the vote. And the white folks that are being killed by COVID-19 are seen as collateral damage in the process. The objectives of the mass murder is to suppress the vote, to enable, to give Republicans a better chance of winning elections. My beautiful, intelligent black brothers and sisters. So never believe them when they say no one is above the law. White folks are above the law. They prove it to us every day because they are looting the rest of us every day. They are lying to the rest of us every day. They are committing treasonous. They are committing treason every day. The Republican Party is a party of traitors. Trump and his administration are a cadre, a syndicate of criminals and traitors. That's what I have on this one. Please go to thethrasherway.libsyn.com.